Hello everyone, it is Tuesday, I am Tuesday, and today we're going to be talking about the Fall of Hyperion, Book 2 of the Hyperion Cantos. If you're new here or haven't seen the first couple of videos already, that's fine. They're not required viewing to be able to understand what I'm talking about. Just go ahead and watch them once you're done here. I'll have a playlist with all the Cantos videos up by the time you're done watching. Subscribe, if you haven't already, in order to catch more of my Hyperion Cantos videos. Now, I'm gonna try something a little different today, okay? Let's make a deal. If this video gets 50 likes within the first week of it being uploaded, I will release a character analysis video of Mina Gladstone, CEO of the Hegemony and one of the galaxy's most influential characters in the first half of the series, 7 days after this video's upload. In other words, if I release this video on a Tuesday and we hit 50 likes, I will release the Gladstone video the following Tuesday. Got it? Good. We have a bargain. There's gonna be some spoilers in this video, one major one, and then some minor ones throughout. If you haven't read Fall yet, and I suggest you do, your last chance to click off of the video is right now. Guys, this book is so good. It's like, really good. I didn't know how to feel about it at first, because I was like,
I also don't really like John Keats, so I'm sure some of the wow factor inherent to these characters was lost on me.
but then I was like, ooh, Mina Gladstone seems cool and
What's
intriguing.
going on at the time?
What's the
Oh,
track?
God.
Future. Everything's connected. God, stop it. Stop it. Let's take a moment to address what just happened there. When I was much younger than I am now, I used to do a lot of jigsaw puzzles with my family. There was something very satisfying to me about methodically working through this jumbled mess of shapes and colors, piecing them together, and watching something take shape out of the chaos. Sometimes I'd hit a dead end. Nothing would connect in any meaningful sense, and I'd be left with these massive half-formed blobules of an image floating in disparate areas of the table. I'd have an idea of what the finished product was supposed to look like, but I wouldn't quite know for sure until I found that one piece that broke the blockade and forced everything to fall into place. To continue my analogy, the end of Hyperion gave me a false idea of how I thought the puzzle was going to look when all was said and done. It had opened up the narrative box, thrown a bunch of pieces on the table in the form of the different Pilgrim stories, and then said, have at it, with the theories at the end. I went into Fall thinking it would just be a matter of me filling in the gaps, and immediately off the bat, the book was like, whoa, bro, hold on. We got a few more pieces here, before dumping out the rest of the puzzle box's contents to reveal like 900 more pieces. Oh, those space pirates who you thought might be a big bad guy at the end of the last book? That's wrong. What are you, fucking stupid? Time travel exists. From all possible futures, God is real. What do you think about that, bitch? It was overwhelming at first because it wasn't jumping right into the bits I thought I wanted, instead letting the intrigue of what was happening at the time tombs build in the background while at the same time giving us a context I didn't know I needed about the wider movements of characters and political factions outside the magnifying glass that is Hyperion's titular world. For example, did you know that the Technocore are, bad? I know. Hard-hitting commentary here, but at the end of Hyperion, I didn't necessarily know that, and neither did any of you. We knew the core were up to something, but we couldn't tell what, and due to the murky nature of the world outside the Pilgrim stories, it felt hard to discern anything concretely. Every faction outside of the Pilgrims came away looking pretty grimy, so it was almost impossible to decide which of the major players we should be rooting for. As it turns out though, the core have spent the last couple centuries planning to exterminate the vast majority of the human race before enslaving the survivors in order to use their brains as external data processing centers. Crazy, right? Who would have thought that a group of intelligences ostensibly designed by old Earth idiots like this guy would turn out to be technological techno-fascists hell-bent on destroying the very fabric of human society? All joking aside, though, the Technocore's scheme is about as cold and calculating as it gets, cartoonishly evil, and inconceivably cruel in the way only real-world fascists ever tend to embody. They are cold while seeming friendly, providing popular but false promises while planning the exact opposite in closed rooms where no one can listen. They do their best to lie and cheat their way into the greatest positions of power in the eternal bid to exert more control over the systems in which they operate. It feels uncanny to watch and uncomfortable to listen to, and is all the more grounded in the realization that despite the lunacy of the Technocore's plans, the insane lengths that they would take to cause suffering for suffering's sake, they are at the basis no worse than what we humans have done to each other, as any look at history might teach you. This realization would have been lost, or been less impactful, if we had stuck solely on Hyperion. An outside perspective was necessary in order to expose the whole plot. You see then why we must spend so much time with Gladstone and her entourage, why the book opens with her introduction. Even when slow, these sections still make themselves feel riveting. This has mostly to do with the wider cloak and dagger of it all, but it is certainly enhanced by Mina Gladstone's presence. Evil in the sense that all those who reach her level of semi-unitary power must be, CEO Gladstone still has what she believes to be humanity's best interest in mind. She has deluded herself into thinking she knows what is best for humanity, and to her credit, acts upon those beliefs with great conviction. Hers is a harsh, occasionally cruel, no-nonsense answer to imminently existential threats. But when the enemy is an out-and-out group of overtly genocidal fascists who have both means and cause to embody their rhetoric, you take what you can get. All of this, of course, is necessary in order to provide context to the globules we were left with at the end of Hyperion, to create a spiderweb of connections that start stitching together disparate pieces of the puzzle while also providing a framework for the finished jigsaw. Still, it did take a while. To put it bluntly, I was at a loss to how the story would turn out with less than 100 pages left to go. I had no idea as to how Simmons was going to tie everything together, and yet, he pulled it off so cleanly that the feat of his labor felt almost effortless in its execution. Anybody who's read this will be able to tell you that the second half of this story has a lot of moving parts to it, and while you don't necessarily know where all of the parts are going at any given moment, you do get the sense of a well-oiled machine ticking away without a hiccup. Besides a slight divergence near the beginning of the book, where Keats gets kidnapped, the rest of Fall feels very direct in both its plot and pacing. Each individual gear of the story feels like it is where it should be, even if you don't know what the fuck the gear is doing as it turns. Mega big spoiler time. To emphasize this point, about halfway through Fall, it is revealed that in the future, the Technocore have successfully created a quasi-omniscient god which subsumes and destroys them before self-replicating and expanding in order to take over the universe. This thing has control over the flow of time and space and sends messages into the past as prophecies for the Technocore to pass on to humans in a bid to control our destiny. That's right. Techno-Jesus died on the Technocross in order for the Technocore to pay for its synth-pop sins. Like, what am I supposed to do with that information? How do I go forward with this? Again, the story had an answer for me when I was at a complete loss, while still introducing twists to make this one seem reasonable. I am being completely serious when I say that the Techno-God reveal is not the craziest thing to happen within these pages, and yet the book still finds a way to maintain our suspension of disbelief. How though? Well, part of it has to do with the overall tone of the story. It often reads like a forlorn epic, with moments of brevity sprinkled in amidst a bleak and unrelenting sea. But I would give most of the accolades to the sincerity of the characters' reactions to the given circumstances of their world. To a man, everyone in the Cantos treats such outlandish threats as, say, an eternal time war, a time-traveling death machine made of knives, and a shot at immortality by suffering forever on a tree made of thorns as both tangible and imminent. Even the designated cynic, part-time poet, and full-time asshole Martin Silenus treats the circumstances seriously. Despite frequently lampooning the insanity of it all, his outbursts read more as the drunken anxiety of a man without answers, trying his best to mask his fear by overdosing on referential ironic expression. This is what I think sets Fall apart from a lot of other more modern popular fiction. Oftentimes, in today's stories, the comic relief jokes and quips aren't an expression of character to other characters, but rather something that is just thrown in the mix in order to get a rise out of the audience or break up some narrative monotony. Take Marvel, for example. I know, nobody's ever talked about this before. People tell jokes in those movies because everybody tells jokes in those movies. But what do you, as an audience member, really learn about Scott Lang as a person when he starts dropping one-liners? What about Stephen Strange? What I mean to say is that the chaotic, blasé approach Sillinus takes to the circumstances around him tell us more about his character than something like this ever could. We know from his point of view chapters that he is deeply disturbed by what is going on around him, while still having the urge to face what he knows he must in order to complete his life's work. Therefore, the bad jokes and incessant quipping heighten our understanding of Sillinus as a person, while making the danger of his circumstances feel more real, as opposed to straining our overall suspension of disbelief. Yes! Obviously, especially if you've already read the first one. I don't think I have to sell the people who've already read Hyperion, though. If you were able to finish the first book, you probably liked it, and have already started reading the second. This score, then, is for those people who may have put Hyperion down in the past, or haven't even picked it up to begin with. For all of you in the audience who fit that description, go and pick up this series again as soon as you can. I know I spoiled some stuff in this video, but there's a whole lot of crazy stuff in these books that I didn't even touch on, so you have a lot to look forward to. Fall of Hyperion is an easy 8 out of 10, and these first 2 books of the Cantos are easily some of the best sci-fi that I have ever read. I hope you enjoy. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking around in the video. It definitely helps out. If you want to continue the conversation, start chatting in the comments down below. I was able to have some great discussions with a couple of you in my last 2 Hyperion videos, so let's keep that train going. As always, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm gonna have the Hyperion Cantos playlist up in case you missed the other videos. That will be around here somewhere. As always, it is Tuesday. I am Tuesday, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye. Oh no, please don't eat me. I have a girlfriend now. No!
What?